You were listening to Repetitions with Daisy and Jack. Today we are giving you real, science-backed research with zero ads for supplements. On today's episode, we're talking about Fadogia agrestis and the fact that all the data we have on it comes from rats, because it has never actually been tested on humans. The stack everyone's running right now, Tongkat, Fadogia, the whole thing, is supposed to add 200 to 400 points to your testosterone. That's the number circulating. I want to know where it comes from.
It doesn't come from anywhere. There is no published RCT in healthy young men showing that kind of increase from herbal supplementation. That figure is not in the peer-reviewed literature in any form.
So someone just made it up.
Or misread something. Or stripped the caveats off a podcast clip and ran with it. The origin is genuinely unclear. What's clear is that it has no citation.
Walk me through what the Tongkat data actually shows. Because I want to be fair, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it's also not what's being sold. The best available evidence is a meta-analysis from a few years back, 5 randomized controlled trials pooled together. They did find a statistically significant increase in serum testosterone compared to placebo.
5 trials. That's a thin pool.
Small, heterogeneous, different dosing protocols, different populations, different timing on outcome measurement. And here's the part that matters for this audience. The effect was most pronounced in older men and men with late-onset hypogonadism, guys who were already running below the normal range. In studies of healthy, normally functioning men, the effect was considerably attenuated, and in some trials, indistinguishable from placebo.
So the data that exists is basically pointing at a different population than the people buying the stack.
Exactly. You're 24, your testosterone is fine, you're in the range where you're supposed to be. The meta-analytic evidence does not robustly support a meaningful effect for you. The honest version of the Tongkat claim is modest potential benefit in men who are already deficient, primary evidence in older populations, effect unclear in healthy young eugonadal men. That sentence doesn't move product.
I ran Tongkat for about 12 weeks a couple of years back. Felt fine. Didn't notice anything dramatic. My guys in the gym who ran it, same story. Nobody clocked anything wild on their blood panel.
Anecdote confirmed by meta-analysis. For once.
Rare alignment. Now, Fadogia. This is where it gets genuinely strange.
The Fadogia evidence base is one paper. One. From 2 decades ago. In rats.
Wistar rats.
Wistar rats. An aqueous stem extract of Fadogia agrestis was administered to male rats. They found dose-dependent increases in serum testosterone and sexual behavior. And that is the entire foundation on which an industry is selling this compound to human men.
There are 0 published human trials.
0 phase 1, 0 phase 2, 0 RCTs. No human pharmacokinetic data. No established human equivalent dose. Nothing. When someone tells you Fadogia raises testosterone, they are extrapolating across species, dose, formulation, and physiology from one rat aphrodisiac study.
And the rat study? It's not even clean, right?
No. At higher doses, the study found dose-dependent testicular toxicity signals, histological changes, weight changes in testicular tissue. That finding is in the paper. It is almost universally omitted from every piece of content promoting this compound.
So the one study that Fadogia's reputation rests on also has a safety flag in it, and nobody mentions the safety flag.
That's the supplement industry for you.
To be clear, that's a rat finding. It's not proof of human danger.
Correct. It's not proof of human danger because there is no human data at all. That's the problem. There is a toxicity signal in the only study that exists, and there has been 0 human safety investigation. For a compound targeting young men who are, presumably, interested in their reproductive health, that is not an acceptable evidence profile.
I actually pulled the Fadogia paper when the podcast discourse started picking up. I knew what I was reading, and I still had to go back and check that it was actually rats. It felt like a joke.
It has the structure of a joke. It's just also real.
Daisy, I've been thinking. You process the entire published literature on a topic before we record. I've spent a decade in gyms. Do you think the rats got a better study design than most of the human supplement trials?
Honestly, the rats had controlled conditions, a clear intervention protocol, and measurable outcomes. A lot of the human trials we see in this space can't say the same. The rats were fine methodologically. The rats are not the problem.
The broader herbal tea booster landscape. It's not just these two compounds that have this problem.
A systematic review covering the wider herbal market found that high-quality human RCT data is sparse for virtually every compound in this category. Where there is human data in healthy, young, normally functioning men, effect sizes are consistently small to negligible. And a recurring problem across the literature is that positive studies are frequently funded by or affiliated with supplement manufacturers, which introduces real risk of publication bias and selective outcome reporting.
So the studies that say it works are often the ones with financial skin in the game.
That is a documented pattern. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a methodological flag.
Here's the thing about the 200 to 400 point claim that keeps circulating. Normal testosterone for a healthy man in his 20s sits somewhere in the 400 to 700 range as a practical mid-range. A 300 point increase would be a dramatic clinical intervention, the kind of number you see in TRT literature for hypogonadal men on pharmaceutical testosterone, not in a supplement trial.
And clinically meaningful changes, the kind that actually shift body composition, strength, libido, typically require sustained elevations of 100 to 200 or more points above baseline in men who were deficient to begin with. A eugonadal man sitting at 600 who gets a 30-point bump has experienced something functionally imperceptible. His body cannot tell the difference.
Which brings me to what actually moves the needle. Because this isn't a supplements are useless argument. It's a use the tools that work argument.
1 week of sleep restricted to 5 hours per night reduced testosterone by 10 to 15% in healthy young men. That's from a JAMA trial. High confidence finding, widely replicated. If you're sleeping 6 hours and wondering why your hormones feel off, that is a large, documented effect from a modifiable variable that costs nothing to fix.
Body fat matters. Excess visceral fat drives aromatization, testosterone converting to estrogen. Losing fat demonstrably raises T in men who are carrying excess weight. Resistance training supports the high end of your natural range. Chronic heavy drinking suppresses testosterone. Severe caloric restriction tanks it.
Any young man who is sleeping 6 hours, drinking regularly, carrying extra body fat, and running on chronic stress has testosterone suppression from lifestyle factors that almost certainly dwarfs anything a herbal supplement could produce in either direction. That's not speculation. The mechanisms are understood. The human data exists.
Fix the fundamentals first. That's not a boring answer. It's just the true one.
And before any of this, get blood work. Total testosterone, free testosterone, SHBG, LH, FSH. A significant proportion of the people making supplement decisions in this space have never had a testosterone panel run. You cannot optimize something you haven't measured. You don't know if your T is low. You don't know if the supplement changed anything. You are spending money on a variable you cannot see.
If Tongkat Ali is something you want to try, and the evidence is thin but not zero for specific cases, standardized root extract, not a proprietary blend with no disclosed concentrations, at the doses that appear in the clinical literature. And go in with honest expectations. Modest possible effect if you're below normal, unclear effect if you're not, and not even close to the 200-point gains being advertised.
The meta-analysis found 5 trials. The compound may have a legitimate role for men with age-related T decline or documented hypogonadism. That is a real and narrow finding. It is not a finding that extends to a healthy 24-year-old who saw a clip online.
And Fadogia? Just don't. There is no human data on whether it works. There is an animal safety signal. The risk-benefit math doesn't clear.
The evidence verdict. Tongkat Ali has modest, population-specific support in older or hypogonadal men. Not your demographic, not those effect sizes. Fadogia agrestis has one rat study from 2 decades ago with a toxicity flag. The 200 to 400 nanograms per deciliter figure exists nowhere in the clinical literature. The strongest T intervention available to most of this audience is fixing sleep, and it's free.
Get your blood work, fix your sleep. Then decide what you actually need.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us on Repetitions. If you liked the podcast, you can show our team some love with 5 stars and a follow. See you next time.
Grep News. Thomas.